Hi, hello everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. We are here today to discuss a very important topic, the power of content marketing for B2B businesses in 2022. Nowadays B2B marketing, our marketers are forced to reshape their marketing approach when it comes to engaging with potential customers. We've already bid farewell to the days when businesses could simply bombard customers with marketing messages. Prospects have become picky and are now attracted to useful content. Content marketing, when introduced to B2B domain, has positive effects on lead awareness and brand positioning, and businesses have yet to leverage this power in the coming years. This is Tushar, your host today for this webinar, and I'm a content marketing specialist, currently working as a solutions manager with Talentela, a design and content marketing agency. Joining me today are my two very brilliant guests. Kate. Kate is a content marketing manager at Mailshake, and she's also a co-founder of #Media. And Sabnis, she's a co-founder of Talentela. And since B2B marketers seeks to develop credibility, promote brand awareness, and generate organic leads, it's important for businesses to understand the power of content as the only B2B marketing tool in coming years to be able to leverage it. So without wasting any more time, I will straight away go to my first question. Sia, this is for you then. So as organizations start to understand the importance of content curation, do you think content teams will shift to more agile approach of management? More iterations, development, and then testing their strategies and then going back?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that that's going to be one of the main pathways to progress in terms of content marketing. So just to be clear, we aren't necessarily talking about the frameworks, which is like Scrum or Kanban. We are talking about the values of that lend into Agile, which will be visibility, experimentation, iteration, collaboration, and of course, efficiency. So when it comes to, just to highlight these a little further into why they're important, visibility, which is clarity and transparency of your planning, whether that be in the form of, say, a content calendar, monthly blog topics, your email marketing sequence. Visualization of your content and how it will be dispensed is the key over here. Experimentation is also equally important right now because the platforms are just going crazy. There are just so many options, and no brand can feasibly tap into all of them. A brand will have to pick 3 to 4 content marketing mediums that work for their business, and experimentation is the only way to do that. Just a word of caution for all the brand managers here: when you do experimentation, a few of the key criteria that you need to keep in mind is that your experiments need to be safe to fail so that they don't have a long-term impact on your brand. They should be short-term, they should be well-designed for most effective outcomes, and they should be iterative, which leads us really well into our third value, which is that if you find an idea that works, you must make sure that that idea can have iterations, they can have variations, and can be a long-term idea that then gets cemented within your audience and actually shows results. Another key important point is collaboration, especially in today's times of remote working. Things like platforms where you talk to people, connect, keep collaborating is extremely important so that the creativity as well as the efficiency does not die. In conclusion, the wider the net of content marketing gets, marketers will have to start following agile values for effective output.
Yeah, absolutely. Platforms, collaboration, the point that you mentioned, RevGenius is a very good example of that.
Brilliant, I love it.
Marketers coming together, sharing knowledge, people from different continents meeting together, and we have 20 more people watching us and sharing this knowledge with them. So Kate, coming to you, how would you, the introduction of AI and bots impact content marketing? What do you think? Do you think content writers can be replaced in future?
So in the future, probably. Right now, I would say no. I would say Honestly, bots are sort of there to help us, to supplement us. I have a very strong belief that the AI that we currently have isn't good enough on its own to be both writer and editor. It's really good enough for one or the other. So, you can use it kind of for brainstorming ideas, like generating ideas, generating headlines, generating, even if you have a piece of content and you want to use like an article spinner to kind of mix it up and change things up, it really helps kind of expedite that type of work. So sort of the production-based bulk of the work. But in my opinion, you still currently need a human copywriter or a human editor to kind of step in and make sure to vet whatever the bot is doing. But honestly, some AI is getting so good that that for right now, I was very anti-AI for a while because, I'm an experienced copywriter and I thought, oh no, like there's no way that I'm going to let a robot do this. Like humans are necessary. But at this point, I think they really help streamline the process. But currently, the capabilities of the bots that I've used, at least, is not enough to completely replace content writers.
Absolutely. Even I'm two minds on this. I mean, we do keep talking about robots taking over in various different fields as well, not just writing. But with the introduction of AIs and bots, I've seen people giving various comments. Some people do think that this is like a booster for writers. It saves a lot of time. It gives them different ideas. So it's like a supplementary help that they've got right now. I mean, future is still ahead, but yeah, not at least in 2022. We will, in fact, it's a helping hand. In fact, yeah. So yeah, coming back to both of you now to next question. Do you think there is a direct relationship between creating content to build authority and increase in sales? And does it also work in B2B scenario? I mean, we know how B2C uses that, but does that also apply for B2B, building authority? I mean, either of you can take it first.
Sure. I'll give my 2 cents quickly.
Yeah.
So I would say there's definitely a direct relationship, especially in B2B. I think that people in the B2B space are constantly seeking out ways to do better at their jobs. So if you can be that authority, then you can be the person that's top of mind when it comes to a point when people are ready to buy. And I definitely strongly believe that, especially in the B2B space, it's very especially SaaS. So I work in SaaS specifically, and it's very kind of insular, and there's definitely like a very core community, and we're all kind of helping each other and building off of each other. So if you can be that authority in your space, then that's absolutely going to directly tie to sales, especially when it comes to things like taking content and sort of like providing value up front, and then providing value over and over again until you ask for a booked meeting or the sale itself. So that's my perspective, but would love your thoughts.
So I so agree with everything that you said, Kate. And just to give an example of what you were talking about, I think HubSpot has done this so well. I am such a fan of the brand because their content strategy is so on point. Like, think about a young brand manager who has any issue or needs to just confirm something or wants to get ahead of the trends. They find HubSpot consistently on top of every Google search. They get emails which are so relevant to them at any point for their brand. When they need a marketing or automation tool, they are for sure going to think of HubSpot, because in their mind, HubSpot has become the undoubted leader and go-to authority in their field, which is, of course, why HubSpot has done as well as it is doing. And it is now one of Salesforce's biggest competitors and just a brilliant brand overall. So yeah, I completely agree. And for B2B, establishing your voice, making sure that you become the leader and authority in your field is extremely important.
Yeah, true. I mean, I personally, I mean, what I've like to think about it as I read somewhere recently that going forward, there is going to be a content saturation, or going to be everybody wants to give out their content, right? But you have to make sure that you become that water hole where all the animals come and drink at. You want to be that water hole where everybody wants to come and drink at, and that is only possible when you keep churning out content and building your perceptions in such a way that you build a brand recall in your consumers mind, that when they are ready to buy, they know that whom to go to. So yeah, and now moving on to our next question. This is for you, Sia. Coming back to you, people have started to coin content marketing as more of content selling. What are your thoughts on this?
So yeah, I think content selling has gotten a bit of a bad rep. It is very important for every brand, but it is always going to be under the bigger umbrella of content marketing. So content marketing is not about selling. It is about building your brand. It's about building your entire persona, connecting with your audience, and establishing that value and trust. Even your content selling will be connected to your content marketing. So somebody who's writing copy for, say, your digital campaigns or even your sales collaterals, they need to have a content selling approach. But that cannot be an island from your overall content marketing tonality. Otherwise, your audience will feel a disconnect with your brand, and that's never a good thing. So I don't think content selling will ever be content marketing. I think users are intelligent and they realize when they're being only sold to. I think it has to be a combination, but it is something that does go hand in hand. You cannot separate the two.
Right. In fact, I just read in one of the RevGenius's article today about content marketing, where I mean they mentioned that there's a lot of selling happening, like PPC is happening. It is not working for B2B market. In fact, as much as longer form content or blog content or that sort of content material works well. So yeah. So yeah, coming to you, Kate, now for the next question. Google announced that it would end cookie tracking in early 2022. I mean, they've been announcing it, they're delaying it, but let's assume that they finally decide it in 2022. It also says that it will increase user privacy. Many companies have opposed this, and as you know, and what are your thoughts on this? How will this decision impact businesses? I mean, Google is like the most, platform where you go for content, So how is that going to affect?
So it's hard because obviously it's unfortunate that we won't be able to kind of follow people around the internet anymore and kind of stalk them and hunt them down individually. Obviously, like that is the dream, is to be able to kind of know everything about everyone. But I think overall it's a good thing. I mean, we're moving toward more consent, and consent really means more, customers that actually care about what you're selling, right? So I think ultimately it's a good thing. It's going to kind of cut down on the noise that we experience, and it's also going to cut down on us wasting time, money, resources on content that is maybe kind of intrusive versus helpful. And I think honestly, like for me, a lot of what I focus on is building organic traffic and also building, a quality email list of subscribers who opt into our communications. So for me, and my workflow will not be super changed, because a lot of what I'm doing is, giving people what they're asking for from us. So I think that it's going to just mean that you're going to have to find ways to be seen organically, rather than kind of intruding on people's internet experience, I suppose.
True. I mean, getting more qualified leads is going to be, it just qualifies your leads that those who are looking to convert more. I, in fact, read in the same article about how gated content does not work anymore for B2B. Rather, you may have less number of leads, but they are more qualified because they're actually looking to buy your services and take that decision. So yeah, now next question is for both, but let's start with Sia with this one. Numerous B2C brands are seen having their own media channels where they stay connected with their target audiences. Do you think this can be efficiently replicated into B2B domain? I mean, having own media, such as maybe a website or maybe a YouTube channel or a blog post that is quite popular. Do you think that sort of own media will work well with B2B domain, Sia?
Oh yeah, for sure. It is already being replicated, Tushar, and of course we already see B2B brands across various social media platforms successfully establishing their brand reputation. So I mean, of course, no B2B platform conversation can be complete without mentioning LinkedIn. LinkedIn was smart enough to lend itself so perfectly to fill in the B2B gap that had been created by other social media platforms. And it has absolutely worked for so many B2B brands that I know of to build the reputation. Actually, people who are interested in knowing what those brands are doing. But even moving away from just social media platforms, and blogs are definitely working for a client of mine called Navi. We create blogs not only in terms of their technical know-how, which is extremely complex, but also about their culture, and has both been working so well because people want to know more. They want to know the intricacies of how companies work nowadays. It's important for them to understand the culture and ethos behind a company. Or even when you think about, say, podcasts or Clubhouse, they work so well because people are looking for different types of information, and that's how you find your niche audience. I think what I'd like to maybe hand over the baton to Kate with is that there are two brands which I absolutely love on social media, which are Shopify and Dropbox. Both of them do so well in communicating about their brand and still staying relevant. So definitely check these two out if your brand plans to take a B2B social media approach.
Yeah, Kate.
Excellent. Yeah, totally agree on LinkedIn in terms of becoming a wonderful place to share your content. The first thing that I thought of when I thought, okay, how are B2B brands using media to promote themselves? The first thing I thought was actually Sales Hacker. So I don't know if any of you are part of the Sales Hacker community, but they have a fantastic publication. They have message boards where you can ask whatever questions you want, and Outreach, which is a sales engagement platform, purchased them because they understood the value of kind of providing all of this value to their desired audience, sort of free of charge. So that is honestly probably the top thing that I think of, and it absolutely works in the B2B space for sure.
Yeah, sure. So going to the next question, do you think podcasting can be effective in this B2B scenario for B2B businesses? Does podcasting work well? Do you think?
Oh yeah, for sure. So as I already mentioned, podcasts are definitely very effective. In fact, in 2021, the podcast industry is supposed to reach $1 billion. I got this because I recently listened to this podcast by Daniel Ek, who is the Spotify CEO. He was talking about the future of podcasts, and he definitely, and if you are interested in knowing more, I definitely recommend checking this podcast out. But anyway, back to every research statistic that's out there in the industry shows an upward trend when it comes to podcast and the audiences that tap into it. More importantly, that the younger generation is tapping more and more into podcasts, which is extremely interesting because this audience is intelligent. They are tapping into podcasts for varied content. So they will go for the comedy and like the new segments, but they also want various other skills and learnings, right? From history to understanding more about marketing or even tech, which that's what they feel is something that they want to know more of. This gives a really exciting opportunity to every brand out there, whether it be B2B or B2C, because at the core of it, every brand has some value or learning to impart or like share with their audience. And because podcasts have that niche audience and they have a stickier audience than many other social media or like mass communication platforms, brands can develop that loyalty. I'll just maybe give one piece of advice from personal experience of Talentela's own podcast, is that with every podcast, you can keep changing your topics, you can keep innovating in what you want to talk to your audience about, but try and make sure that with every podcast, you leave them with at least one radically different thought or learning that they then find value in. I think that would help your podcast connect really well with your audiences.
Yeah. Even I read that recently. India and in fact Asia Pacific is the biggest market for the growing number of podcast content creators. Podcast is not just about a hobby or sharing lifestyle sort of an experience, but it has turned towards more of a content which is more educational or more consultative approach. India is the next market, and we've seen many marketing podcasts topping the charts currently. Moving on to the next question, Kate. How is user-generated content shaping the so-called word-of-mouth advertising? Do you see this form of content amongst the future paramount trends in content marketing?
Oh, absolutely. I think, I think our audience is savvy. Our audience knows when they see marketing that feels like marketing. And I think that they know that marketing comes with a bias. So I think getting the words straight out of the customer's mouth is the best way to do it. You really, you can say that you're great all you want, but when it comes out of the mouths of people who have actually used your product, that's really, really the best way to go. I know that for me, I'm super big on using content from G2, reviews that people are sharing, or just anything on social media, especially things that happen organically. When people mention Mailshake on social media organically, and it's not something we ask them to do, it's just something that's happening. I find that so much more valuable. And then we can take that and reuse that and repurpose it once it's been said. But I think that that's absolutely going to be one of the most trustworthy forms of marketing moving forward.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, the next question is for both of you here. What do you see in the coming 4 years as the biggest change in content marketing? I mean, what do you think? Sia, what is the biggest change in the next 4 years in content marketing?
So I just want to add, Kate, I love what you said. Word of mouth is super important. It's such a kick, such a high for a brand. But anyway, going to your question, Tushar. So when it comes to like the future of content marketing, which is basically what we're discussing, the reason why content marketing is so much more important now than ever before was that before we were marketing was like the pie. The 90% was OOH platforms, TV, basically the big money grabbers, the mass communicators. It is no longer that way. A lot of budgets, a lot of attention has been shifted to digital, which is great because that means it's a whole new avenue of connecting directly with your intelligent audience and making sure that your messages are personalized and intelligent enough to connect with them. So, which is why content is so important, because content marketers have to have, of course, marketing knowledge, but also like they have to have the audience, they have to know the audience, and they have to have a higher emotional quotient to actually construct those messages and understand the brand from an audience point of view. They have to be the brand holders that way, which is why I think that content marketing is going to have to evolve super fast, be extremely agile with the platforms, and be more sensitive, be more caring, be more accurate to preferences and situations consistently. Like, we cannot drop the ball because it's constantly changing. Kate, what do you think?
Oh, so I love what you said about it going from like this sort of mass marketing advertising to more like segmented digital, more like focused messaging. That I completely agree. I always struggle with questions like this because I'm not, great. I'm not a psychic. I'm not amazing at predicting what will happen. I mean, nobody predicted last year, right? So like whatever plans I had as far as like my content marketing strategy for, 2020 and even 2021, like it all got tossed in the trash like immediately and just had to kind of like go over. So I would say obviously, just be prepared to be agile, be prepared to kind of shift and kind of do a lot of listening and produce things in a way so that you're not kind of doing so much work up front that it will all fall to pieces if something shifts, because things are always shifting. I would also say that for a long time, content marketing has been this sort of game of like one-upmanship, like where, you're trying to kind of like gain that top slot. You're trying to kind of like provide something slightly better than your competitors. And I think that is kind of going to not necessarily work as well in the future. I think that you're going to have to provide value on sort of to your particular audience versus, trying to capture everyone, trying to capture like those right people and provide content that the people that you care about most, see value in. So that's probably what I would say for the next 4 years. It's going to be less, like Sia was saying, less of that sort of mass scale and more of that kind of digital, agile marketing.
Yeah. I mean, I personally, I think that with more of AI and bots and digital assistants like Siri or Google Assistant coming in picture, the way we create content is also going to matter. The way we write, the way we decide on the topics or the tone that we use. That's what my next question is, in fact. Kate, so voice search is a key aspect to consider when talking about the future of content marketing, as I mentioned just now. Keeping this in mind, how is voice search reshaping the entire concept behind content creation? How much of impact does it have when you create content, when you write content for, say Mailshake? Do you consider voice search now?
I probably should consider it more because it's interesting. I was just saying, everybody's trying to outrank each other and be at that top slot. But that when it comes to voice search, that's incredibly important that you're in that top slot. You want to be in that featured snippet. You want to focus more on, long tail keywords that will get you into, if somebody asks a question to Alexa, that suddenly you're the answer because she does, she gives the one answer, right? So you kind of do have to beat out all other answers and provide just the best possible one.
Yeah, cool. So the next one is for both of you. Why is this age the most important one for content? I mean, as a B2B marketers, what do you think is your role in this transition? What necessary steps can we take along with your organizations take to embrace this change? I mean, why is this age becoming more and more important for the content, as we are speaking about the future of content? And as B2B marketers, what is our role or responsibility to adapt this change? Or what are things that we can do to make it unable to make our teams unable to adapt to this change, or make our whole organizations to also contribute to this as in terms of content? Sia.
Actually, Kate, do you want to take this one first?
I will take it. I think this is a hard one and a loaded one, and I bet you'll have a better response than me. So we'll let you wrap it up. So I think, to be honest, when I think of, why is content the most important, the only important thing, it's because everything is content. It's because we're always consuming. For the longest time, I thought content was just like, oh, if you write it, it's content. But then, you're consuming video, you're consuming social media feeds. All of it is content. So there's almost nothing. I challenge you to point me to some kind of marketing that does not involve content in some way, that's not being consumed, and that doesn't focus on messaging, even if that is not text but is visual communication. So I think in terms of like how do you approach that, it's making sure that everything is somewhat cohesive and aligned. And it's making sure that that you just do have a very firm strategy in place, that it's not chaos, that you're not just, we've talked a lot about trust. So I think in order to build trust, there has to be consistency, and there has to be, some level of expertise that you're sharing and value that you're sharing. So honestly, like that's really it. It's I would love, Sia, if you have any more specific advice for people, because I feel like that was a little broad. But yeah, that's generally what I think.
Yeah, I love what you said, that everything is content strategy. There is no form of marketing left anymore that does not involve content. If there is, then I don't know, like, I'm going to be really surprised. But so, like, going ahead with what we were talking about earlier, and what you also said, Kate, that everything is content. Digital has shifted the way that we look at marketing. So marketers now have to be so much more aware of their audience. They have a myriad of platforms and tools that they tap into. They have different statistics that they need to be aware of and optimize consistently. For all of these things, it can get a little overwhelming. So the one thing that I think Talentela was born out of this slightly overwhelming feeling, and then finding a solution to this overwhelming feeling. The one thing that we absolutely believe at Talentela is that your marketer has to also know your strategy, as well as be an expert in the field that you are talking about. Generalization, generalized teams, generalized skills is going to be a thing of the past if it isn't already. And having expertise is definitely the way to go. And now, because everything is digital, the world is your oyster. You are no longer conflicted with geography or like timelines. You can reach out to talent wherever and find that expert talent who can then piece in that cog, which you may not know that well, whether it be SEO or whether it be like figuring out ROI or whatever. There will always be somebody who you can consult, but don't be generalistic with your execution or your strategy. And I think that would be one very important aspect in smoothing the ride forward, whatever may come for content marketing.
Absolutely, yeah, that's very brilliant. I mean, both of your points. I mean, looking at how not to be general, or being more niche oriented and specific towards your core competencies, and building that authority. It has been a brilliant 30 minutes, quick for 30 minutes. We would say we covered a lot, starting from the importance of why the content marketing, to AIs and bots, digital assistants, and voice search, or how what sort of how to make that transition smooth. So we've covered a lot today in these 30 seconds. Even I can see in chat, all our viewers have been asking a lot of questions. Thank you very much for that. And Alex or Jatin there, Ash, and just quickly going through the names who have been constantly interacting with us and asking questions, and other people who kept joining us in and out. Finally, we all are here, I'm assuming all marketers of some kind, or content creators, or content mavericks of some kind, and we're looking forward to that 2022 when truly the content becomes the powerful tool for B2B marketing and the only powerful tool for content marketing. Having said that, I would like to thank you both for joining me today and giving your time. If you would like to, introduce your or say something about yourself or your companies, this is your time. Kate, would you like to say something?
Sure. So yeah, I'd love to talk a little bit about Mailshake very quickly. So Mailshake is a fantastic email automation, call automation tool to help you kind of consolidate all your outreach and streamline it so that you can kind of really quickly capture, the best, send the best message to your audience. And it's great. And I highly recommend going to our blog if you need help with content marketing, if you need help with sales, and if you need help with kind of marketing in general. We provide advice on all things sales and marketing.
That's fantastic. Sia, would you like to, I've seen that you've been answering few people have been asking questions to you. Would you like to say something about you or your?
Right. So first of all, I've checked out Mailshake's blogs. Definitely go check them out. They're a great read. For Talentela, so I'm the co-founder of Talentela, and we started Talentela basically with the idea of making sure that marketing is brought on by experts for brands to actually, just do a great job for our clients, to find out what a brand needs and deliver to that exactly. In terms of content and design, it's so different whether you are, say, a tech company or somebody or a company who's, say, in the retail space. The team that works for you cannot be the same, and that's the idea that we come in with. It's super important to look into your strategy, and if you think that we can help in any way, or if you have, I know that there are a few questions that I haven't been able to get to, but please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to answer your questions or discuss any other problems that you may have. And if you think that we can help in terms of creating great content or great design for your brand, do reach out for sure.
Thank you very much. That's been a great session. People, please follow RevGenius, follow Mailshake, follow Talentela, and you can leave more comments on RevGenius's page. And if you have any questions, leave us questions there as well. I would like to take this small moment to thank Jared for building this fabulous community of 16,000 plus marketers, and which is building day by day, growing up multifold day by day. And thank you very much, RevGenius team, for helping us set up this webinar, and our lovely audience who's been continuously engaging with us throughout this session. This has been a very lovely session.
Sorry, I have a question, Tushar, because a few people asked it. Is the recording going to be going to them?
Even I'm not sure about that.
I'm fairly certain, yes. So everyone, it looks like it is recording. So as long as it recorded correctly, I will send it out to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So thank you for joining us, everybody. It has been lovely. Good night, good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you are. Bye-bye.
Bye. See you.
See you all.